photos were looked at by the Bureau of Mineral Resources and the Queensland Geological Survey. They said there's a lot of tawny yellow limestone in the remote area. And so this was us just getting to that first plateau of this tawny limestone. The geologists who were with us did a typical good geology thing, 2-meter strides, and they were gone and out of sight in 5 seconds. Sort of plowing through spinifex stuff, they were seeing nothing. They were just streaking across this plateau. Sue, more strategically, was going through the car to get the geological map.
Accidentally.
It was strategic. It was very strategic. And the car is just down here off the edge of this plateau. And I waited, just standing about here, just so she would know which way we headed. And then I looked down at my feet. Remember, 73 tertiary mammals for the whole of Australia. I looked down at my feet. I'm standing on a rock about that big. And in that rock, suffice it to say, I saw jaws, skulls bristling out of this thing. I nearly needed another change of undies right on the spot. I was just mind blown. And it turned out that block had 34 different kinds of mammals in it. 50% more than we knew for the whole continent. So all of us who were on that trip in 1983 had always dreamed about finding something like this. This was the kind of impossible dream that you'd have as a paleontologist. At any rate, I know when Sue said when she came up to find me, I was gone. I was making groveling noises, crawling around with my hands and feet, discovering that the whole area was like this. And that's when we began to realize, we called the geologists back who streamed right across all this stuff. And then we started to find out there was fossil sites everywhere. And we began to understand they were stratigraphically stacked. It was so interesting. At any rate, it was an epiphany moment for us, because we realized all of a sudden, from going as scrubbers, trying to get enough fossils for our research group to keep us excited and keep the Australian Research Council happy, we suddenly had enough to supply the continent many times over. So we made a hard decision, and it was kind of hard for a moment, to contact everybody we knew. Didn't matter. All the research groups here, even some overseas, and said, you're interested in the following groups, guess what we just found, blah, blah, blah. So that was the beginning of a huge trip. But that day, when we found this, we got back to camp, and two of our PhD students, Ken Applin, unfortunately one of the people whose mother was killed in that Port Arthur thing, and he just died recently, I was going to say. And Tim Flannery was another one of our PhD students at that point. And they were actually driving the vehicle with some of that D-side limestone to Mount Isa to send it in a train down to Sydney. So they were gone when this happened. Ken was particularly obsessive about bandicoots. We had no fossil record of significant understanding for bandicoots. He, as a PhD student, really wanted to understand the history of bandicoots. Anyway, when they got back that night, back to our camp on the Gregory River, we told them what happened. And their eyes were popped. Ken was nearly drooling around the campfire. Couldn't even eat his dinner just thinking about what was happening. The next morning, and it was my fault, mea culpa, mischievousness snuck in. And I'm sitting there with my cereal, and I said to Ken, wouldn't it be nice if we really did find something like that? Oh. And Ken, spoon hits the ground, plates down, and I suppose he wanted to kill me because she suddenly realized we played this terrible practical joke on it, pretending we found all this stuff. But I said, today we'll find it. Yeah, sure we'll find it. At any rate, we drove him right back to that spot, and Tim, and we said, just have a look up there. And about 5 minutes later, I hear, Archer, you bastard! They found the same stuff. And that's why gag site got called gag site. Terrible, terrible practice. But for us it was important because, here's some of the institutions that have researchers that are working on Riversleigh stuff. Just to give you some idea, it's just a massive global project now.